Yeah.
That's always been all my relationships. So when these girls, though, come and they're like, well, I want to get to know you better, I'm like, you just lost a relationship. I'm no longer interested.
I tell them we can get to know each other as we getting to know each other.
So
Because I have no plans to you and then leave you and go
But
on.
Brian, doesn't that create a catch-22 for you?
what do you mean?
Well, because you're like, well, wait a second. If you've had a one-night stand, that somewhat disqualifies you because you're not willing to have the one-night stand with me, right?
Well, I don't want a one-night stand, though.
No, I understand you don't want it, but what triggers you about it, or what gets you tilted about it, or whatever kind of language you want, is that they'd be willing to do that with somebody, but not you. Like that's what the flag itself is, right?
Yeah.
I suppose that's a component of it. Yeah. I guess what's the catch-22 though?
Well, because then this means that even if this woman was trying to achieve virtue, or changed her mind, or had made a mistake, or had regrets about doing this thing, that by telling you that she wanted to pursue virtue, wouldn't you be potentially removing virtuous women from your pool by kind of rejecting them outright, because this is not behavior they would do with you, but that is behavior that you would prefer a woman did do with men?
Interesting.
Yeah, good point, Andrew.
It's a fair point. Although, I mean, you've actually used this argument before, Andrew, is the Great Hoe Reformation. And so, is it actually virtue? Are they actually virtuous? Have they actually?
Yeah, I think that gets to the heart of the contention. So I'd like to, from the argument from your side. So every side has an argument, right? So the argument from your side, I think that this is a compelling one against you, but I think the compelling argument for you is that, well, if a woman is only doing this for the purposes of impressing men, then she's faking virtue.
Mm-hmm.
That would be faking virtue, right? So that would be the big contention, I think, from your end of the argument. And I don't have an argument against that, by the way. I think that it kind of railroads right there, and I don't know where to go with it.
Because you can never really tell.
Yeah, how would you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, right? So how would you ever know the difference of if they're doing it because they're faking virtue, or they're doing it because they genuinely wanted to be virtuous? How could you actually tell the difference? And so I don't actually have an answer to this. I call it the Brian conundrum, right? Or the Brian paradox, or whatever you want to say, right? I don't have an answer for this.
Okay, so let me add a
Opening
caveat. Let me add a caveat, Brian. Let's take your example. Let's say she does have a history of being promiscuous, but she's been celibate for, say, the past 2 years, and then you come across her, and she said, well, I've been celibate the past 2 years. Yeah, I've had one-night stands in the past, but for the past 2 years, I've been celibate, and I would like to keep it that way, and I would like us to get to know each other. Would that pivot your perspective?
I think that's there's obviously nuance to these sorts of conversations. So I think yes, it would, so long as was genuine. I'm
Right.
assuming it is. Yeah, I think it would depend how long she wanted to wait. Then though,
Okay.
you want to wait 3 months, still not interested.
Oh, like until marriage.
You want to wait,
right?
You want to wait? Oh no, well that's not. Yeah, 3 dates. I'll give 3 dates. Okay, all right. 3.
But I think you have said in the past that if a woman was pursuing her religious values and seemed to be adamant towards those, that you would take that into consideration versus a secularist, right?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense to me, right? Maybe that's a sign then that you're not faking virtue.
Yeah. I think kind of the issue here is in these sorts of situations is one, the recency with which they were engaged in a casual hookup. So I just would not, it would be very difficult for me to take it seriously. For example, if a woman like 2 weeks prior had a one-night stand.
And then
she's
found
like,
Jesus.
well, or not even, well, a lot of these,
Conveniently.
even secular atheist women who are not religious at all will do this whole, they're not even in, it's not even in pursuit of any sort of religious, for any religious reasons. They'll just, I want to like wait to have sex. I don't want to do that, blah, blah, blah. Hey, that's fine, whatever. So I don't think it's solely religious women who will do this. It's also secular atheist women. I guess, so my contention is, one, the recency. So if they did it 2 weeks ago, but now, oh, you want to wait 3 months, but the 2 weeks ago you fucked a guy within at 30 minutes of meeting him, I'm like, okay, lady. And then the other thing some women will do, and then Austin, you'll pull up that first one here in a sec, is they'll be making a guy wait and also fucking a dude while making the guy who they have their eye on for a long-term relationship, they'll make him wait. Anybody here done that shit? Anybody? Come on, be honest. You guys all done that shit.
One at a time.
Okay, just to be clear. So no girl here has been hooking up with the guy casually, and then you also, while hooking up with that guy casually, went on a date with a guy who you potentially saw as a long-term partner. Really? None of y'all been hooking up with a guy, and it was casual, it was kind of whatever, not monogamous, not non-exclusive. None of you here, while him, went on a date with the guy. Really?
I would
can't
do
even
the
get a gun.
opposite.
You did it?
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See, there you go. You did it.
I would
Yeah,
do
you
the
did it. You
opposite.
did it,
I
Emma.
would do
Come
the
on, you did it.
opposite. I would actually.
What's the opposite?
So I would have the relationships with someone with whom I actually saw the long term.
You'd have sex with
potential, but I would not have sex with someone whom I'm casually seeing at all.
Then wait, why would you even bother casually seeing them?
Wait, aren't
because
you, wait,
because
aren't
they're
you in an
interesting
open
people.
relationship?
It's not really open relationship. Again, we're kind of